Hello everyone. So, resources are needed to produce goods, and goods satisfy needs. Resources are limited and a limited amount of goods can be produced. Needs, as we already know, are limitless. Let's remember the fairy tale about the golden fish. Everyone remembers the old woman's unlimited needs. If we have unlimited needs and limited resources, the problem of choice immediately arises. What exactly do we have to choose? For whom? How and when to produce? This is how the new concept of opportunity costs appears for you. Opportunity cost is the value of the best alternative given up by making a choice. Alternative costs or opportunity costs are the costs and use of resources for some specific purpose, measured from the point of view of the benefit foregone as a result of not using this set of resources in another alternative way. Consider a popular modern situation. Women, with the development of technology and social relations in general, are more eager to build their own business and self-realization than before. This immediately affected the demographic situation. Here is a graph of the birth rate in different countries. We can see that it is decreasing. If a woman's time is presented as an economic resource, it can also be presented in different ways. You can do your business and earn money, and you can raise children. With the acquisition of her own economic freedom, and at the same time, a woman contributes to the increase of opportunity costs, as a result of which a child becomes more and more expensive for a woman from the point of view of opportunity costs. In this way, the number of children in developed countries has decreased to 2 in a family, which is already critical for procreation. Today, it is safe to say that in countries with a high birth rate, there are simply no viable alternatives to housework for women. Another example: chaotic, dense urban development. In a market economy, any piece of land, especially if it is in the center of the city, has a great value, because it can generate income. If we have a park, a square, or an empty square, there is always an alternative to build something here and earn a lot of money. The existence of a small square or a wide street can be associated with large opportunity costs for someone, that is, money just flows like a river, but out of the pocket, so any square in the city center is at risk. Even more clearly, let's estimate the opportunity cost. Let's say you need to get to a city. You can do it by plane or train. A plane ticket costs 100 conditional units and a train ticket costs 30. Your average hourly income is 10 conditional units. Simple math. The plane flies 1 an hour. The train takes 10 hours. The opportunity cost of the plane is 110 conventional units, and the train is 130. Conclusion: we choose a plane. A visual representation of the problem of limited resources and the need for choice is provided by the production possibilities curve. Often this curve is also called the frontier of production possibilities. Each point of the curve AY and BY shows what set of goods society can produce, using the available limited production resources in full. Let's imagine that a limited set of resources are used by society to produce only 2 goods X and Y. It is possible to dispose of resources in such a way that all of them will be directed to the production of goods X. In this case, not a single unit of goods Y will be produced. In the other extreme version, all production factors aimed at the production of product Y. The result is the production of goods Y and no product X. In all other cases, in order to produce goods X and Y at the same time, it is necessary to make a choice as to how many units of product X must be produced at the expense of refusing to produce a certain amount of product Y. It is this refusal is the cost of a missed opportunity. Let's explain with an example. We have 2 islands. On one, Robinson lives, on the other, Friday, and on each of these islands you can produce only 2 types of economic goods: coconuts and fish. Robinson, working all day, can collect 40 coconuts or catch 8 fish. The production possibilities curve will have the following form: the bottom point is exclusively coconut production, the top point is fishing, and the dot exactly in the middle indicates that Robinson spends half of the day fishing and half of the day collecting coconuts, respectively. He gets 20 coconuts and 4 fish. If he is at all idle for half a day, he falls under some point under the production possibilities curve. At the same time, Robinson cannot get 20 coconuts and 4 fishes at once and get to a point above the production possibilities curve, because he has just such a period of working time and technology. The same applies to Friday, but Friday collects, for example, 50 coconuts and catches 4 fish. Its production possibilities curve looks like this. Again, the dot in the middle indicates that in half a day Friday collects 25 coconuts and catches 2 fish. Likewise, Friday on its isolated island cannot rise above its production possibilities curve. If Robinson and Friday join forces, if they begin to cooperate and exchange the results of their labor, then each of them can obtain such a combination of coconuts and fish that was not available without the cooperation of trade. So we see that Friday collects more coconuts than Robinson in a day, and Robinson catches twice as much fish in a working day as Friday. In economics, this is called absolute advantage, the ability to produce goods with greater productivity and in a unit of time from a unit resource to get a greater return. Then they change and share this set among themselves under certain conditions. For example, 4 fish and 21 coconuts are taken by Robinson, and Friday takes the other, 29 coconuts and 4 fishes. Notice each rises above its own production possibilities curve, each benefits from cooperative trade. It is also possible to divide everything in another way. For example, 25 coconuts and 5 fish went to Robinson and 25 coconuts and 3 fish went to Friday. If you compare the two options, red and blue, the red is more beneficial for Friday, the blue option is more beneficial for Robinson. So what option will actually be exercised if they start trading is unknown. It depends on the bargaining power. Anyone with valid arguments can put pressure on the situation. As a result of the division of labor in international trade, all participants may look like this, but the gains may be distributed differently. That is, international trade is, on the one hand, a mutually beneficial process, and on the other hand, a conflictual one, so it is precisely to resolve such conflicts and simplify the process of international trade that we have the World Trade Organization, which many countries joined, but then they tried to change some conditions for themselves, but the negotiating power they did not have enough and the conditions were not changed and remained not at all beneficial for the majority, despite everything. No one has left the World Trade Organization in the entire history of its existence, but inside the organization there are constant disputes and discussions about the distribution of gains from international trade. Usually the more developed and stronger countries get more, the less developed get less, but all participants benefit compared to the situation when there is no trade at all, and yet we remember the negotiating power, in any configurations, alliances, organizations it is worth defending own interests, well, when there are convincing arguments for this. The production possibilities curve is a rather simplified model. We considered it on the example of 2 products, but there can be tens, hundreds of them in reality, but then we will have to draw a line of hundreds of different axes. It will be somewhat difficult, but on this model we can clearly see that it is profitable to cooperate. But this process also requires negotiation power. We remember that every person and every country has its own interests, they must be defended. To be continued. Thank you for your attention. Until the next lecture.